When the last sound in the house fades and the night feels heavier than it should, pain arrives like an unexpected visitor and enters the chest without permission.
Every day, without realizing it, you wake up and switch it on. You think the same thoughts and reinforce the same pattern. What repeats strengthens, and what strengthens is the great risk is that if you don't know undigested chapter of unprocessed emotions. Not because of weakness, but because of mental software and still recognizing this is a nice routine. Instead of creating this routine, in today's video, we'll dive into the solutions of we unravel how it works, understand why the mind exists, and activate a practical ritual. Stay with me until the end. Let's see the silent shift. Knowing when the mind starts to move. This video isn't just meant to be watched. It's meant to be the creations of the soul's minds shapes their movement. But her own mind seemed unfinished in its movement. From the age, she wrote phrases like, "Those oceans are the stars. Artists can't paint pictures. Those who live for the soul are the dead." These phrases, spoken to millions, etched into her inner spirit. She wrote her strength in childhood. Her inner voice began to open. She became this woman because they didn't realize who they were. She felt like she was a part of just her system. The words came voiced over her death notices not patience because of her then perhaps also she was facing the motivation and not riches. She had created phrases to find her point. Rare came times standing in desperate steps. She didn't see the weight on her shoulders. On social gatherings when asked, "Do you live on campus?" She nodded yes when she did. Inside she wanted to raise when she checked her face with just music quiet. She smiled and said, "Yes, that's the smell of your legacy." Significance for her visions, having used it just enough to pause, she'd go to the bathroom and raise her eyes. Not out of some sadness, but from a sense of smallness. Having tried emptiness. Her worst was amazing. No wonder one quietly cleaned her dishes. Something changed. One day washing dishes. She let her phone play a video when she took notice. And there is something serious for her. Your mind doesn't know the difference between what's true and what's fiction. That starting time that was ashes, she began replaying the video multiple times. Closed her eyes. Repeated the sentence on her mind. Tried to feel it in her body, chest, stomach, throat. Then she read the words. On the top of the first page, she wrote boldly, "What if the problem isn't on talent, but the belief that limits
He
me?"
shows her that she is not defined
That phrase
by what
wasn't
she lost,
learned.
by
It
what
was
she believed,
recognized,
or by what
an
was
echo
said.
of the soul
God
asking
leads
for
her to
expression.
stories that reflect
Every
her
day
own.
she returned to that
Hagar,
notebook.
seen in
Researched the law of
abandonment.
attraction,
Hannah,
neuro-linguistics,
whose tears became
practical
a promise.
spirituality.
Esther,
Read
hidden
complementary
to be
passages,
elevated. Mary,
jotted down
chosen
ideas,
to carry the
wrote
impossible.
affirmations she wished
Revelation
to believe,
removes veils,
even when her
heals old
emotions
beliefs,
resisted.
and returns
At
what
first,
the world
she
tried
felt
to
like
steal
she was
identity.
pretending. The voice of
Restored identity
self-sabotage
awakens
said,
faith,
"You're
but not
wasting
shallow
time.
faith.
This is
Mature
ridiculous."
faith. Faith
Even so,
born not from comfort,
something
but
tiny
from
within her
scars.
insisted,
Faith that came from walking through
"But
the valley
what if it's
and
real?"
discovering that God was there
Even
all along.
trembling,
Faith that
even
does not
doubting,
depend on outcomes,
even getting
but on
emotional
presence.
mid-sentence.
Faith
That was
that
the
says,
inaugural
like
moment
Habakkuk,
of reprogramming.
even if nothing blossoms,
In the
I
first
will still
days,
praise.
the change was nearly
This
invisible.
faith changes everything.
Tiny cracks
She no
in the
longer
inner
rushes.
soil.
She waits. She
Just
no
a
longer
restlessness
fears.
in the
She
chest,
trusts.
a light
She no longer
anxiety
panics.
about the
She
future,
discerns.
as if something
Her
wanted
faith
to
becomes
emerge.
anchor,
But then,
fortress,
the
and
micro-victories
compass.
began.
Faith does
In
not
3
remove the
weeks,
process.
she found the
It carries
courage
her
to
through
reject
it.
an
And when
abusive
faith
client,
matures,
something she had
purpose
never done.
begins to form. God
2
starts
months,
connecting dots
she dared to
that
charge
once seemed
3 times
unrelated.
more than
He
she used to,
transforms every tear,
and did it without
every fall,
hesitation.
every silent
In
night
90
into part
days,
of a divine
she paid
design.
rent with
Purpose does
ease
not arrive
and
loudly.
bought herself
It appears as
gifts,
clarity. And with
without
purpose,
guilt,
the
without
anointing
internal
arrives.
shaking.
The anointing is not emotion.
These simple
it is
gestures
authority.
seemed small
Not
but carried
performance,
growing
but
strength.
spiritual weight. Like
They didn't
Elizabeth,
come from nowhere.
who remained hidden
They were
because she carried
external
something too
reflections of
sacred to
something
expose too
transforming
soon.
within.
She too
It wasn't
was being
luck.
prepared in the
It
secret
was
place.
internal
Her
coherence
anointing was formed
manifesting.
in silence,
The mind was
pain,
beginning to
and
align
depth.
with the new
Now she
code she
carries
was
something she
planting.
never carried before.
With time,
Vision,
she noticed that
maturity,
people who once
discernment,
ignored her
and
work
authority.
began to
And
ask,
finally, the
"Did you
calling
make
begins.
this?
Calling
How
does
did it
not
turn
appear
out
at the
so
beginning.
different?
It
You're
appears at the end
radiating
of the
something
process.
new."
It does not come when
Some
she is
clients
strong.
came through
It comes when she is
referrals.
surrendered. The
Some
calling
friends
is the fruit of
said,
everything she
"You've
lived.
changed."
Pain
And
was
she
refinement.
knew,
Abandonment
yes, she had
was
changed.
separation.
Not because the world
Silence
approved,
was training.
but because
The
she had
desert
begun
was
to
awakening.
approve of herself.
Revelation was
Lara
reconstruction.
didn't conquer
Identity
the
was
world.
restoration.
She decoded
Faith was
herself.
foundation.
And when that happened,
Purpose was
something
direction.
inside crumbled.
Anointing was
An
confirmation.
invisible wall,
God
a
did not
fortress
take
made
things
of
away
fear
from
and
her.
doubt.
He took things away from
And
her.
in that
And
crumbling,
now,
a portal
strengthened,
opened, silent,
aligned,
discreet,
whole,
yet
and
irrevocable.
awakened.
She didn't
She
become
becomes
someone
the
else.
kind of woman
She
hell fears
rediscovered the one
and
who had
heaven
always
trusts.
been there,
She did not emerge
buried
the
beneath
same.
scarcity
She emerged
beliefs.
anointed. She did not
And
come
from
out
that
broken.
point on,
She came out
her life
rebuilt.
could no
She
longer
did
be the
not come out
same.
empty. She came
Now
out
let's
full.
go on an inner
Now she
journey.
walks in.
Understand
the
how
calling
your
that has been hers
mind,
since the
your
womb. If
biology,
this message
and your
touched your
soul
spirit,
intertwine,
right.
and
God is
why
my
this
everything.
entanglement allows
This is
transformation.
Faithmor, where
Think of
silence
your mind
becomes
as
revelation,
fertile,
and where the
silent
desert
soil.
becomes destiny.
Everything you plant, ideas, emotions, visions, takes root. The mind doesn't judge. It welcomes what is repeated. Each fragile repetition pulls an underground cable. Each firm repetition paves an inner road. What began as a faint trail becomes a neural highway. This dynamic is explained by Hebb's law. Neurons that fire together, wire together. If you think "I don't deserve" repeatedly, those circuits automatically strengthen. They run on autopilot, requiring minimal effort. Becoming someone who deserves abundance, that path is still overgrown. So repeating the new belief becomes an act of digging, paving, renewing. Another essential mechanism is the reticular activating system, the RAS. Imagine a mental gatekeeper deciding what you perceive in the world. It receives billions of stimuli per second, but only shows your consciousness what your internal focus deems relevant. If your mind is tuned to scarcity beliefs, the RAS will filter out and hide anything that could represent abundance. But if you internalize the belief, "I deserve to thrive," and repeat it with conviction, this gatekeeper starts to highlight resources, ideas, opportunities, clients you previously ignored. You begin to see what was already there, because your filter changed. There's also neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to reorganize itself throughout life. Each sincere new belief creates synapses. Dendrites stretch out, connections strengthen. Old abandoned pathways go through synaptic pruning. They weaken, disappear. You literally reshape your neural architecture in real time. You're not stuck in the past. You can rewrite your mental script. You start to reprogram, but something inside you resists. That resistance isn't a flaw. It's a sign. The brain is an efficient organ. It seeks energy conservation. It prefers existing patterns, even painful ones, because they require less effort. The unworthiness program is already running smoothly. When you present something new, the brain must activate less used circuits. That takes energy. And that energy shows up as fatigue, lack of motivation, an inner voice saying, "Go back to what felt safe." That effort is the friction of innovation. You're pushing something that doesn't yet have a path. That brings doubt, laziness, the urge to give up. That moment hits hard, and that's where many retreat. For Lara, that moment came on day 17. It was the day when the new demanded too much, and the old screamed louder. She felt sudden fatigue, a disheartening voice, lingering doubts. If she had backed down, all her early progress would have been for nothing. But she smiled through the pain and said, "This is part of the process." That sentence became a turning point. That attitude created the first crack in the mental wall. In the moment she chose not to retreat, she made an invisible fracture, enough for something new to seep in. In that moment, Lara didn't just persist. She opened a portal. An inner portal, silent yet profound,
From that point on, the reality around her began to shift, because something within her had shifted first. And this is the secret few understand. The portal of transformation doesn't open on the outside. It opens within, and when it opens, there is no turning back. Lara was never the same again. She didn't just reprogram her mind. She redrew her soul. What used to be automatic repetition became conscious action. The inner pillars creaked and gave way to make room for the new. And when that happened, the portal flung wide open. Now it wasn't just a metaphor, it was real. The portal opened for Lara, and through her, new lines of reality began to flow.